Welcome to our YouTube channel Subject Classes. Today we are going to learn the appreciation of the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by great Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore. This poem is a part of syllabus for English medium 10th standard Maharashtra board or for SSC exam of 10th standard English medium. The appreciation of poem is asked in board exam for 5 marks. It includes 5 points. First one is title of the poem, second one is name of the poem, third one is rhyme scheme used in the poem, and fourth one figure of speech used in the poem, and last one the central idea of the poem. They must be included in the appreciation, but the answer is expected in paragraph format or not in point format. You may include special feature, type of poetry, reason to like poem to get full mark for the question. Let's start the appreciation. In first slide we will see the first 2 points. One is title and second one is poet's name. Let's see. The title of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. It is composed by the great Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore. This poem is taken from his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Here we find a new word, anthology. It means a book that contains piece of writing or poems often on the same subject. Here we completed first 2 points. We know that the title of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. You can write it in any other way or in any other sentence, like Where the Mind is Without Fear is the title of the poem. Second one also you can write in your own words, like the poem is written by great Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore. In third sentence, tell more about the poem, that it is taken from where and is a part of anthology Gitanjali. Let's see the next point, rhyme scheme of the poem. First sentence, there is no fixed rhyme scheme in the poem. Second, poet didn't follow the traditional way of poetry or didn't follow the way or rule to write poetry. It is written in free verse format. In these 3 sentences, we learn that the poem do not have any rhyme scheme. Poet do not follow the traditional way of poetry writing or follow the use of rhyme in the poem. Means we know about the way it is written, that is free verse format. Next, the poem is not only a prayer to the Almighty but also message to the country, men, to be awakened from the haunted ages of the colonial rule. In this sentence, we learn that what did the poem related with or the message we get from the poem, which is included in this point. Now we are going to next point, that is the central idea of the poem. Let's see the central idea of the poem. The central idea of the poem is about the poet's vision of freedom for his country. He desires and prays for an overall awakening of the people of the nation and not just for political freedom. In these 2 sentences, we understand that what is the central idea of the poem. That is, it is related to poet's vision, freedom for his country, and second, poet's desire or his prayer for overall awakening of his countrymen or people of the nation. Also, his desire that he do not want just political freedom but want overall freedom for his country. Now, we are going to see next point, that is related to special feature and also include the theme or central idea of the poem. The point is, the special feature of the poem is, now we see what is the special feature of the poem in next slide, which also tells us about the central idea or theme of the poem that is related to the freedom for his country and related to the prayer and desire of the poet. That is the fact that it is a poem of hope, as the poet is not happy with the present condition of country, but he is hopeful for a better future. Next theme we can get from this sentence, that is, the poem is a poem of hope, where poet is not happy or satisfied with present condition, but he is hopeful for the better future. This means that this poem is a poem of hope. Next, the poet uses many metaphors to elaborate the evil existence in the country. In this sentence, we also understand about theme or central idea of poem, that it includes so many examples of evil existence, which is used as metaphor to elaborate the evil in the country of the poet. In this way, in this slide, we understand special features which include central idea of the poem. Next point, the poem is full of positive and negative imagery, as the poet envisions a better future while facing the bleak reality of today. This is also a special feature of poem which include theme or central idea of the poem. That is, poem include positive and negative imagery which envisions better future while facing bleak or bad reality of today. Means it is a poem of hope which gives hope to the countrymen that they will get full freedom from the colonial rule. Next point is figure of speech. The figure of speech used in the poem are alliteration. Now we have to include the name of figure of speech used in the poem. The first one is alliteration. The next one is metaphor, which we see in the last central idea point. Next figure of speech is personification, apostrophe and repetition. All these figure of speech are used in the poem by poet. Now we are going to see an example of figure of speech used in the poem, that is alliteration. Let's see the example. Into the dreary desert, sand of dead habits. In this line, poet has used figure of speech alliteration, as the sound of letter D is repeated very pleasantly in this line, that show the poet has used alliteration in this line. In this way, we have completed all the points needed in appreciation and finish the point clearly. We can see title of the poem, then name of the poet, then rhyme scheme used in the poem, which is free format, no rhyme scheme used. Next point, the central idea of the poem. Next point and last one, the figure of speech used in the poem. This point may include the name of figure of speech and one example of the figure of speech. Any one example. You can choose any one figure of speech and any one example of that figure of speech. Now, if you like the video, please like it and subscribe the channel and press bell icon for the notification of such videos.